Hello, everyone. Good evening. Jorge here with Abalo's Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies. Nexus from binding together, Nexus from connecting together, Nexus for integrating things together, for basically touching each other. For Nexus means just like let's connect, right? It could be network, it could be databases, it could be repositories, it could be anything. And I didn't know the concept of Nexus until um, last week, I think it is. I was just researching, like everyone's using Nexus. So, anyways, today's video is to introduce you to GitLab. So, what is GitLab, right? GitLab. Everyone talks about GitLab online. So basically, GitLab is a web-based tool that will allow you to control and build pipelines for continuous integration and continuous delivery using Git. So Git, everyone knows Git to manage repositories, version control, and all that. So it's built in with Git too. And I believe GitLab, the owners are Microsoft, just like GitHub. GitHub is owned by Microsoft now too. They bought it in 2018 for 7.77 that something 5 millions, something crazy expensive. Right? But that GitHub have over 100 million repositories from people, codes, right? So that's why they bought it. So GitLab, right? We know it's web-based. We know you use Git. We know that it's used to build pipelines. So the question is, let's do a drawing over here. So GitLab. So we do pipeline, sorry, and then let's put this one in pink, right? So what is a pipeline? It's basically uh, a bunch of processes or work that you need to follow to make it automated and to ensure that it works. So you can automate code, you can scan it, you can ask for information. So how do you build this pipeline, right? So pipelines usually they have something they call stages. Right? So we got GitLab, which is the main server, right? Let's put here main server. Main server. So GitLab could be hosted in the cloud by GitLab, or you can have your own self-hosted GitLab server at home if you want to, right? So there is limitations in the cloud, but it is not a lot of limitation when you host it yourself, but it will take a lot more work, but you can customize it in anywhere you want. There is no restriction. So inside this GitLab, you have pipeline, which are basically a bunch of processes that you automate. And these pipelines, you build stages. So you can have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 if you want. And each stage is going to have what we call jobs. Okay. I'm going to change the color for this. Let's put it. It's going to have jobs. So what are these jobs? Are basically commands, okay? Commands that maybe you want to ask for the OS version, or you want to change the host name, or you want to assign a new IP address. So these jobs are basically built with scripts, okay? Scripts. So this is a chain, right? First of all, you create a pipeline name. It could be Jorge's OS information, right? And then I'm going to create a stage. And this stage, right, is going to have a bunch of jobs. And these jobs are going to have a bunch of scripts. That's how it is, right? So let's put over here too that there is self-hosted and SaaS version, okay, of GitLab. So it's all up to you. You could have it in the cloud or you could host it. So now what else? How do we communicate with the VMs or containers, right? So if you're using many different jobs or stages, jobs, scripts for containers or applications, how do you communicate with them? Well, there is something called, I'm gonna put this on the side here. There is something called GitLab runners. Okay. So we're gonna explain a little bit of this. Please in yellow again. This GitLab runners. So GitLab runners, there is two different versions. Okay. If you're working with the SaaS version of GitLab, then you're going to deal with share runners. Share runners. And if you're dealing with the self-hosted version of GitLab server, then you're dealing with self-managed runners. So these runners, right, are the ones that are going to help you to communicate these pipelines or stages or jobs or scripts with these containers of applications or virtual machines. Without them, it will be quite hard to communicate with these containers and applications. So one thing is communicating with them. Another thing is how do you execute it? Well, there is also something called GitLab. GitLab executors. Okay. So one thing is doing the communications and the script and all that. And I'm going to move this over here. I'll change the color for this. So there is a few different kinds of executors. So how did you want to execute that? Those commands that these runners are sending and telling us what to do. Well, you can have an executor that will be in a Docker container, right? You bootstrap the Docker container to do the execution. That's one way, right? Maybe you can use Kubernetes to become an executor of GitLab. That's another option. You can use an SSH connection to be an executor of those runners, right? Those commands. You can use a VM, complete VM, right? I think that I made a post over here on my new page, Abalo's Cloud Natives and Nexus Technologies. Feel free to find me on my website, on LinkedIn, sorry, LinkedIn. So we got executor here. Oh yeah. So we got a Docker, Kubernetes, SSH virtual machine, custom. You can use a shell too. You can use a shell. You got it. I don't have a lot of room here. Okay. So what are you learning today? That there is two ways of having GitLab. You can have the SaaS version, software as a service. You can have the self-managed, right? Then you learn about pipelines. They have stages inside there. Then stages have jobs, and jobs have scripts, right? To do some kind of you pulling information or you're executing applications. Who knows? It could be anything. And then a way for communicate to those containers, right? Or machines or applications, you need runners. So you can have share runners, which are only used for SaaS applications, for the SaaS version, or self-managed, which you install, you run a command that you need to run on the computer to pull that script so you can make that machine or that container a runner. And then after that, how did you execute those commands? Well, you can do it through Docker containers. You can do it through Kubernetes, SSH, a virtual machine, and that's it. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of GitLab, what is involved, what it takes, and just simple stuff, a simple video for you to have an idea, everything that's involved. Like myself, like I'm blown away that you can actually have GitLab executors on using Kubernetes. That's great. That's awesome, right? Or you can use SSH, which is not really recommended, or a VM, which use a lot of resources. So you know what? For your situation, whatever you're trying to build, you need to choose what's best for you and what you're doing, right? So thank you so much. This is Jorge from Abalo's Cloud Native and Nexus Technologies. Feel free to follow me and also follow my company, Lake Cloud Canada. And the goal with this, I'm going to help a community of developers to build anything they want and automate it with a underground Nexus, which is a sandbox, a hyperconverger. Yeah, it's basically a data center that basically doesn't need IT. Why? Because all this is built in. GitLab, Kubernetes, Terraform, everything is just like doing his own thing all the time. If a Docker container fails, another one takes over, right? So this is what we do. We do automate, we save money for companies, and we just make it beautiful. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, and have a good night. Thank you. Bye.